Hey everyone, today we are testing out a Martha Stewart recipe from the cookies book. This is actually my first time trying one of her cookies recipes, so I hope it will come out great. This is the cream cheese walnut cookie. 6 ounces of cream cheese, 1 1/4 cup sugar, 2.5 cups walnuts, 2 cups of unsalted room temperature butter, and 4 cups of flour, and vanilla extract. This one is homemade. I'm gonna start with the dry ingredients and add 1 teaspoon of salt to the flour. I should have used a bigger bowl, but I used a small one. So I'm gonna mix it all together with a fork, but you can mix it up all together with the whisker in a bigger bowl. If I use a whisker, it would make a mess. I'm also only making half portion of this recipe. So in the mixer, add the cream cheese, the butter, and then mix it all together on low to medium speed. You can also use a electric hand mixer, but I think this one is just much easier. Beat it until it all comes together. Meanwhile, add 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. Toast 1 cup of the walnuts, and then we'll have to either chop it up or you can use a blender like this one. I think this is much easier and faster than chopping up with a knife. This will be added into the dough. So here's our mixture, nice and creamy. And now we add the flour and the toasted walnuts. On low speed, start mixing it. And once you see it starting to combine, you can increase the speed, but make sure you start on low, that way nothing gets messy. And make sure do not overbeat. I mix it for about a minute and the dough is ready. It kind of looks like ice cream, I think it looks like ice cream. So when I touch it, it doesn't stick my finger, but I can still kind of see the grease from the butter. And using a plastic wrap, I have laid it down on the marble or your work surface, and this is where you get handy. With damp hands, try to roll a sausage, basically, because the butter in it is still melting when you're touching it with your finger, so it's impossible to cut it and have like a very nice round shape. So we have to freeze this, but first roll it into a sausage form, and I'm using the help of the wrap. I'm pulling up one side and pushing it in from the other side, kind of like a burrito, to make sure there's not any or very little air gap in between. And the other side, twist the edges to make sure no air gets in it, and just roll it around. This will shape it perfectly. And then we're gonna pop this into the freezer for a minimum of 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, it was still kind of soft, so I left it in for about an hour and 20 minutes. Then we're gonna chop up the rest of the walnuts. I think it was not enough, so I added some more. And we're gonna roll the dough inside. And these walnuts, I just chopped them by hand because I wanted the big pieces to stay and not everything to be pureed. So I'm using the top of the plastic to push down the dough. That way it doesn't gonna get stick to my hands. I move the wrapper just to help you not get dirty hands, so your hands doesn't pick up all the nuts. The dough is frozen and it's not wet at all, so you have to push it down gently so the nuts kind of go into the dough, because otherwise it's not gonna stick to it. So we picked up pretty much all of the walnuts, and I think this is perfect. Preheat the oven at 350 for 18 to 20 minutes. My oven is very strong, so I had to put less, but if you're using a regular oven, 18 minutes should be enough. So I'm cutting it off very small, about half a centimeter. My dough started to melt, so I was not able to cut it on a thinner slice, but I'm happy with the result because there's no yeast. It's not gonna grow any much bigger. So it is ready, and you don't have to space them too far from each other because it's not growing at all. And after mine have baked to golden brown and it is delicious. Just before you bake, make sure your walnuts are fresh and not old. So this is what it looks like and the result. It looks very same except mine's a little bit thicker, but the dough is amazing, delicious. It could use a little bit more sugar, but other than that, this was very good. I'm very excited to try her other recipes.